Another thing I was looking at was potentially going into security contracting, because of the money you could potentially make there. And that's when I had called up Kris and asked him, hey, can I talk to you about this and get some advice from you?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he said, absolutely. And I called him and we had about an hour conversation on the phone, and he basically talked me out of it and said, the money's not really there anymore. I mean, the war on terror was dying down, and this is before the complete withdrawal of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So,
you know what, I'm just going to ask, because as you're saying it, Kris, like, I'm just curious, does that purely have to do with age? Would you say, like, if a guy who is in his 20s or 30s asked you about contracting, would you try to talk them out of that? Or is it?
No, I would. And because the money isn't there anymore. And if you're going to risk your life as a contractor, you need to get paid to do it. Military, I know the base pay isn't a ton, but you get so many other benefits in the military. And I'll be attest to this, that it does offset that base pay that you may not be getting, that a contractor when I first started would. So yeah, if you're not going to make 30 grand a month going overseas, then don't go. And most of those contracts don't do that anymore because, first of all, State Department is cheaper than hell. They don't want to pay. And a lot of, they do salaries now because they have better control over what they would call us loose cannons or cowboys that would just pay us per month. So that's why I told Alan, I was like, dude, unless you're going on a CIA or an NSA type contract, an OGA contract, those still pay very well, but you have to have special operations experience to get on them the majority of the time, or as some of my coworkers can attest, know somebody. There's a couple that got on contracts that didn't have the qualifications, that just happened to know the contracting officer. Some did well, some did, but the majority of the guys, you have to have the special ops experience. And Alan could have, I know he could have made it in the SEALs or Rangers or SF. He could have, if he wanted to. He just didn't go that route. Well, they don't care. The CIA doesn't care. Second, we don't give a shit if you could have. You have to have this many years. And as I did, and you do not want to start on a State Department contract where they're paying you a yearly salary, which I don't think it's more than maybe 90 grand a year at this point. And the contracts are longer, 90 days on, 2 weeks off. And for anyone that's been overseas, and Alec can attest to this as well, 2 weeks at home, you won't get acclimated. You won't even feel like you're home.
No,
it takes a lot.
I did that during the deployment. I came home on leave for 2 weeks.
Well, tell them how'd that feel, man? I mean,
at Christmas time, it was weird. It felt weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to be home, and it was good for everybody else to see me. But honestly, and my wife would tell you this, and I kind of wanted to be alone most of the time. I didn't I didn't want to like reconnect too much with anybody while I was there because I had to go back. So yeah, that was a little bit weird. But as far as Kris's advice, I'll tell you, my wife was really happy with that. She said, I really like this guy. And during the course of that conversation, other things I were looking at is the DoD has this transition program called Career Skills Program. There's another one under that called Skill Bridge, and what that is where you can work for a civilian company your last 6 months on active duty while you're still getting paid. Being on active duty, you're an unpaid intern for that company. I was telling Kris about that, and I was looking for internships, and he says, well, hell, if I think we got enough work, you could intern for me.